A drunk off-duty cop pins a man with his car, and then on top of that, his it's revealed he has a very troubling past. Today on Rational Lunatic Media. I hope you guys are doing well today. It's a beautiful day out there. Get out, get some sun. Before we get started though, hit that like and subscribe button, punch that little ding notification bell so you can stay up to date on all my latest content. If this video goes a little too long, jump over from TikTok to YouTube, catch the same video but the full content there. If you really want to know about the disgusting things these disgusting pigs, judges, and officials are really doing, jump over to my Patreon, get my Not Safe for Life news for $5 a month, members only. And with that being said, let's get into this one, shall we? All right, this report was written by ABC4.com. Exclusive details. An ex-Salt Lake City police officer's troubling record before arrest. And they say ex-officer because he has now been fired. But he was an off-duty officer at the time. So let's get into it. Salt Lake City. A former Salt Lake City police officer has been found guilty after investigators say he pinned a man with his personal vehicle while off duty. The ex-officer, Thomas Cagle, was found guilty of negligently operating a vehicle resulting in injury. The justice files first started looking into Cagle after reviewing the disturbing dash cam and body cam footage of Cagle, who was seen slurring his words and unable to walk in a straight line. In the body camera footage, Cagle is heard telling officers he is currently a Salt Lake City police officer and used to work for the Ogden City Police Department. It was later found that Ogden and Salt Lake City police departments had internally investigated Cagle's behavior. Almost terminated at Ogden City Police Department. Thomas Cagle worked for the Ogden City Police Department for 8 years. In that time, he was written up multiple times for crashes, including an incident where he hit a pedestrian. Multiple times for crashes and hitting a pedestrian, and was just written up. Imagine that. An internal investigation also found he failed to properly investigate and complete reports. This included theft assaults and missing persons cases. In 2019, he was given one final warning. How many warnings does it take? How many warnings? Quote, no further performance-related issues will be tolerated, and if any occur, it will lead to termination. This form was signed by Cagle and his manager on September 23, 2019. Shortly after this, Cagle resigned from the Ogden City Police Department and was hired by Salt Lake City Police. You know, it seems like he knew he couldn't stop getting in trouble and making mistakes. So he just thought, I'll just go to a different department. Probably applied there first so his record wouldn't be revealed yet, and then just switched over. Like, oh, I'm moving. I just want to come over here. Yeah. God dang, man. Problems with Salt Lake City Police. Newly obtained investigative reports show Cagle was already on thin ice with Salt Lake City Police Department prior to his arrest. In April of 2022, a complaint was filed that claimed he was sleeping inside a police vehicle parked at the Public Safety Building. It sounds like this guy either had a drinking problem or a problem with like pills or opiates or something. The report also brought up that Cagle was in a drowsy and lethargic state while on duty in the past, and that another sergeant experienced similar behaviors from Cagle. Yeah, guaranteed. He probably had a freaking fake fake pee just strapped to his leg. You know what I mean? That's what we did back when I worked for the union construction. I used to always have fake pee strapped to my leg just in case, because those randoms did show up. I watched a lady get a flagger get randomly tested 4 weeks, 5 weeks in a row. Every Friday they came and tested her. Just random, her name kept popping up somehow, and I was there just lit, loaded. Like, oh man, I hope they don't test me. But I had my pee, so whatever. In a separate report, a trainee was interviewed and admitted that Cagle would regularly sleep on duty and said he had to physically wake him up while en route to calls for service. Stu was nodding off with his trainer. Oh no, trainee, excuse me. Someone he was training. He was nodding off, and the trainee's like, "You go ahead and drive." And the trainee's like, "Sir, we're almost there. Can you wake up? We're almost to that. We're almost to the call, sir." God dang, and kept his job. They really do protect their own in certain areas. In all areas. Let's be real. Officer Redacted stated Officer Cagle would be alert once they arrived on calls, but Officer Redacted would have to inform Officer Cagle about the details of the call. The arrest. Cagle was fired from Salt Lake City Police Department after the third investigation involving his arrest, where investigators say he pinned a man with his vehicle. It started when authorities say he rear-ended a man, and the drivers pulled over to the side. After that, the victim got out to look at the damage to the back of the vehicle, and Cagle pulled his vehicle forward, pinning the man. Eventually, the victim's girlfriend ran to the driver's side of the vehicle and pulled their car forward to release the victim. So he just nodded off behind the wheel probably again. This guy was loaded. He was loaded. He hit someone. They got out to check their vehicle because they both pulled over. They got out to check the damage, and he just nodded off again and just eased forward and pinned the dude between his car and his truck. Cagle failed his field sobriety test and was arrested on several charges. He was later charged with aggravated assault and negligently operating a vehicle resulting in injury. Where's the DUI? A judge found Cagle guilty of negligent operating a vehicle, a Class A misdemeanor. Note, they didn't give him a freaking DUI. Come on, man. You know they did a blood test. They don't just do a pee test on that. Like, if they have you blow and you blow clean and you look that messed up, they're going to do a blood test. Cagle now faces up to a year in county jail and a possible fine of up to $2,500 according to the Utah State Code. He got a basic misdemeanor. He got a basic traffic misdemeanor. Any one of us, you or I, any one of us regular folk would have gotten blood tested, would have a definite DUI. No, it doesn't matter if you had pee strapped to your leg or not. Guaranteed. And I'll bet you, because he was a cop, definitely got, regardless of getting fired, bet you he even probably came clean. Was, look, I took some pills this morning. I took whatever, and if you test me, I'll go to prison. And they said, you know what? We're just gonna say your blood was clean, or they tested their own blood. Something, man. Oh, I need more details to this case. I need more information. They don't give you enough information. Fired by Salt Lake City Police Department. According to newly released personnel documents, Cagle was fired on September 26, 2023. Mr. Cagle, whatever your name is, get it together, man. Look, I pray to God they take your badge away from you for good. You don't get to go to somewhere else like most of these corrupt ass cops get to just move on over to the next precinct, next city, and become a cop there. I really hope this is not the case. I remember reading a story similar to this where a cop just kept bouncing to different precincts because they weren't. What happens is the precincts, when they did his background, they weren't really looking into him that well. So they weren't communicating with the other precinct to find out what their record was like. and he had problems at every single one. This is real similar. So I wouldn't be surprised to find out a month or two from now he's working in a different precinct. I might look this guy up later, like in a month or so, and just see what's going on with him. In his termination letter, Captain Derek Dimon, Derek Dimon called his criminal charges, quote, deeply troubling, inappropriate, and unacceptable. I call his freaking his police record deeply troubling, inappropriate, unacceptable, but y'all kept him on. Like, quote, in addition, engaging in conduct that resulted in you being criminally charged reflects extremely poorly on you, the department and the city. Demonstrates a lack of integrity, is inimical to public service, and significantly jeopardizes public trust as well as the trust placed in you by me and your colleagues in the department and throughout the city. Kegel appealed this decision. Oh, he appealed his termination. According to, like, why would you want to? I'd be so embarrassed to go back to work. I'd be like, you know what? I might, I understand maybe appealing it so you can go work somewhere else. But man, to appeal it, try to get your job back, I'd be so embarrassed to go back to work after that. Like, could you imagine being a cop and having that bad of a record and doing something that ridiculous, that just stupid, and going back to report to duty to your fellow? Nah, I couldn't. Nah, wouldn't work for me. Anyway, let's continue. Kegel appealed this decision. According to police records, Kegel claimed his accident had less media attention than other police shootings in which officers did not receive comparable discipline. Maybe because they did those while they were on the job, and at least some of those shootings are probably justified, or if they didn't get disciplined, then in the law's eyes, they're all justified. But they weren't off-duty high and hitting people with their car, truck, whatever. You know what I mean? Come on, man. Anyway, yeah, they received less media coverage and they weren't disciplined. The appeal decision also stated Kegel, it's actually Kegel. I like Kegel better though. Kegel claimed the victim was to blame for hurting the department's reputation because he shared video of the incident. The victim was to blame. We've heard it all, folks. We've now heard everything. The cop was, I'm speculating, cop was high, hit the dude, pinned him in his car, and because that guy released his dash cam footage, it's his fault. He made my company look bad, so they had to let me go. If it weren't for that, I would have never lost my job, which is actually probably exactly right. If it weren't for the cam footage, he probably would have kept his job. If the cops didn't have to wear vest cameras, and even then, if they hadn't released it, but if that guy hadn't had a dash cam, there's a good chance he would have kept his job, because we all know that cops take care of their own. They really do. And that's proof. Even this guy's like telling you. He's like, look, if dude wouldn't have released the camera, the cam video footage, I'd still have my job. But because of that, made the department look bad and they had to let me go. That's messed up, man. That ain't right. There's other cops out there shooting people, and they don't even get as much news coverage. You know what I mean? And they get to keep their jobs, and they don't get disciplined at all. This shows you the actual mentality of most of these cops out there, how they actually think. This is a great report. Quote, your statement that the other driver's actions, as opposed to your own, are the source of any discredit brought up on the department demonstrates a lack of personal accountability and a failure to appreciate the seriousness of your conduct, responded Deputy Chief Andrew Wright. I mean, I want to say good job, Deputy Chief Andrew Wright, but it's kind of what you have to say, right? What else are you going to say? You're right, man. I wish we can keep you on, but I mean, everybody's got a cell phone these days, and cameras on the dash now. So, sorry, buddy, got to let you go. What are you gonna say other than, it's your fault, sir. Keep the eye on the bad cop and not on the bad precinct that kept that bad cop on. Sentencing delayed. Kegel's sentencing was scheduled for March, but had to be postponed because Kegel did not report to his parole officer. Oh, did he now? Did he not now? Whatever. According to his attorney, he had medical and family-related issues. Yeah, he needed his medicine, and his family couldn't find him either. The judge pushed back his sentencing to April 29th. So he didn't see his parole officer. His sentencing was scheduled for March, but had to be postponed because Kegel did not report to his parole officer. When do you report to your parole officer to go to court? Was he in jail? Did his parole officer arrest him, or they couldn't find him? That makes no sense. So the judge doesn't what's it say when they doesn't take his parole away? There's a word for it, but I can't. So the judge, instead of taking his parole away and putting him back in jail until he goes to court, just says, no worries, man. You know what? We can just when would you like it? 3 months, a year from now? December? Is that good for you? Whatever you need, Mr. Kegel. We're here for you, sir. You good officer, you come on, man. This is our system. This is our system. Working for them. That's it. So they work for themselves. Take our taxes, pay themselves, work for themselves. Exactly what they do. God dang it. Anyway, it was postponed because Dempsey's officer, according to his attorney, he had family and medical issues. Yeah, so it was pushed back to April 29th. That's the end of it. That's it. So yeah, whatever, man. If you want me to look this guy up and see where he's at in a couple months, see if he actually became an officer somewhere else, let me know, because that's something I might like to do. With that being said, if you haven't seen my last video, you need to go watch it. That one is one I usually would say for Patreon, but it needs to be exposed. I'm just saying this because before I forget, it was a family psychologist who was charged with CP, but the case was dismissed. He works in Utah, Bluffdale, Utah. His license was reinstated to him. His license was reinstated to become a family psychologist again. All because, he confessed, they have evidence, but because they didn't read him his Miranda rights when they arrested him, they let him go. But check the other video out, the one before this one. Seriously, please check it out. If you're still here, you made it to the end with me, thank you. But if you made it to this point, check that video out. It has his name, where he used to work, and where he's from, Bluffdale, Utah. He's 38. I forget his name, but yes, please go check the video out. It needs to be talked about. It needs to be exposed. People in that area need to know so they don't end up going to this guy when he opens his own, his own therapy place or finds a job somewhere else. This needs to be out there because the case was dismissed. So I'm sure he can get it. He can get it where, what's it called? We can't even see it no more. Get it expunged off his record. And he has the potential of really hurting somebody. So that one needs to be exposed. Please go check it out. Anyway, if you made it to the end. Thank you so much from the very deep depth bottom of my heart, my black, dark, broken heart. I love each and every one of you. I'm really grateful that you're here. Thank you so much. Hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't done it yet. Or hit the thumbs down if you don't like me. Whatever. But, as we always say, before that though, it's sunny outside. Get out there, have some fun. But as we always say, stay healthy, stay free, and y'all stay wild.